Brian.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to keep working on it, man. I'm going to get it. I just got to lean into it a little bit harder. Happy Friday, everybody. Tommy O'Brien coming to you live from TFNN. We got the S&Ps. We got a little bit of selling right now. All right, that's a 30-minute. Put it back to a 5-minute, and yeah, we climb. Let's put it back again for the context. Where were we? Right where we were overnight on the bounce. Right, you take a look at that chart as we climb higher, we climb higher, we climb higher. Where are we going to meet some resistance? You better believe we're going to meet some resistance where you rolled over on the overnight session. And yeah, we just gave up, 15, 20 S&P points in a heartbeat, man. I was coming on the air a quarter of. We were trading at 63.12. We just hit 62.96. You got a little red on the board with the S&Ps off by 25. And we have some selling. All right, digesting some of the market action as I came on the air there. NASDAQ 100 off by 0.3%. We were nearing 23,000, right where we were at 10 a.m., 11, 12, 1, 3 o'clock. There we are. And we just almost hit the lows of 11:30. All right, we're going to have a fun last hour in this market, man. The Dow. So the Dow's off 0.7 right now. You have the NASDAQ off 0.3, and the S&P's off about 0.3. We have yields rising, dollar strength on the heels of the tariffs. But what's interesting here, right? You take a look at even this week. Look at the divergence this week. It is the NASDAQ yet again. Industrials are down a full percentage point. NASDAQ comp up 0.5 percentage point. S&Ps are flat. And that's just as of 3:05 doing the update. So Dow's underperforming. It's doing it today, and that's carrying through to the week as well. But that's been the trend right out of the gate at the beginning of this week. NASDAQ leading the way. We jump to yields, and yeah, pay attention to that one as well, man. I don't know how it's going to happen, folks. Okay, but the market is saying we are not getting cuts just yet. Even if Powell's on his last leg come May, pay attention to this move in yields, man. Okay? The data is going to drive everything. And the one thing to remember in the back of your head, right, is that somehow it's becoming a little bit political with whether we should cut rates or not. President Trump and the administration believes that Chairman Powell is not a fan of him and is not going to cut them. That's what he'll tell you, okay? Many people can argue about the economy that inflation is not a problem and there's lags in this economy and they should be cutting quicker. And you can argue with him on the merits of it and try and take the politics out of it. And then you have the exact same on the other side, right? You make the reasonable case that there's inflation fears, there's no reason to be cutting when you have unemployment dropping from 4.2 to 4.1. Okay, we have unemployment dropping from 4.2 to 4.1. I mean, it is part of the scenario here. We're adding 150,000 jobs. We have the markets at all-time highs, and we have productivity gains that the world has maybe never seen before. And then you get on the political side. So, point being, right, everybody would love low rates. There are consequences if Powell is correct and you begin to cut too quickly and the market would punish there. Right now, the market's saying we got higher yields, man. And the dollar's pushing 98. But the gold contract is extremely strong today. Up by $45 with dollar strength. We're pushing 33.70. That's one of the other ones that's catching my eye in a big way. Gold up by 1.35%. And yeah, Bitcoin. Whoo. Doesn't get much stronger than this, man. You come into this consolidation area in December. You make a couple tries at going higher. May, June. You break through it in dramatic fashion in July, and yeah, it looks like you have legs, man. And when Bitcoin runs, boy, does it love to run, man. And yeah, I think we're going to run to that 130, 131 price point. That's where I'd be looking for Bitcoin right now. And when you get up there, at some point, it's going to take a breather, folks, okay? Even from January, a breather in Bitcoin was 110 to 74. What was that, 35,000? That's a 30% plus hit, okay? That's a 30% pullback in the midst of an A to B, C to D. And that's a 30% pullback overall, right? You do a 618 pullback of the trend that starts at 53,000. but you pulled back 30+% of the entire equity, and all you were doing was an A to B, C to D, bringing it higher to 130,000. Remarkable strength, man. And yeah, NASDAQ outperforming, and yeah, it's the usual culprits, man. Amazon, now only about $17 away from all-time highs. You're at 225 from 160 at the lows of April. You're up 1.6% today with the market negative. Last day of Prime Day, as I mentioned, one of the ideas you could go out and get air filters for my home air conditioner, folks. Yeah, they're saying that you're saving $5-6 in Florida. Listen, in Florida, change your air filters, folks. Okay, I had a unit the other day. I know this is the top of the market kickoff, man, but you got Amazon trading higher. They're going to have some big numbers. It makes sense. Everybody still loves sales, right? You bring some of those sales forward, and somehow they figure out a way to get those sales back in the months to come. But yeah, you save a few bucks. But the air filter deal, especially in Florida, I had an apartment. Okay, AC completely seized up. It was an air filter deal. Air filter hadn't been changed. Changed the air filter, right? It took a day to get there. Yeah, the unit's fine completely. You really need airflow, of course, as those things can seize up, especially when we're dealing with some of these summer months. Hey, Boston, I know Boston's been dealing with some of the heat that Florida's been dealing with, man. But nonetheless, Amazon up by 1.6%. NVIDIA, probably the story of the day. Where are we at right now in NVIDIA? 4.026 trillion dollars. Yeah, and that's a $27 billion above that mark. Man. You know where things get bonkers, right? You look at these numbers. So they're 4.028 trillion. Or 4,028 billions, right? As in, if you have $1 billion company, it would take 4,000. Yeah, man, I'm losing myself. NVIDIA, we're about to do a double bagger, man. 173 is 100% return from the lows of April, folks, and we have not barely had a pullback. So yeah, I encourage you to have your spikes up in that equity eventually for either a consolidation or a slight pullback, and that has nothing to do with anything but the law of basically, like, we're approaching standard deviation type levels. When you get these types of runs, folks, it's just so parabolic. Okay? And to pull forward all that demand, to pull forward that growth, listen, you're probably not far off. I have some NVIDIA, okay? But to grow into that multiples are going to take some time. We're on the verge of AI, right? That'll do it. Nonetheless, S&P's off by 19. We're coming back, folks. Don't go away.